Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Welcome back to Medium Duty at Large, our little show about a big industry. I'm Kevin Linger, managing editor and producer at Fleet Equipment.
And I'm Jason Morgan, content director at Fleet Equipment.
You know, Jason, today seemed like a really good day to go grab a drink.
Yeah, beautiful day.
Yeah, I asked my boss, and he told me I had to stay at work.
That guy sounds like a jerk.
He said it, not me.
Well, it was noon.
Okay. Eastern time.
It's true.
Anyway, speaking of work and drinks, this truck we're talking about today does both. It's the ultimate craft beer truck from Isuzu.
All right. Well, I'm excited. Can't wait to hear more about it.
And to do that, we raise a toast to Brian Tabel, Assistant Vice President of Marketing at Isuzu, to learn more. Brian Tabel, thank you so much for joining us today. First off, how are you doing?
I'm great. How about you?
You know, I'm doing good. I'm really excited to talk about this truck. It sounds like a pretty good time, so let's jump right in. First off, what's different about this truck and body over one that's centered on just delivery or just serving?
Yeah, so this truck was kind of birthed about almost 6.5 years ago. I happened to be sitting at a brewery, and I had an Isuzu shirt on, and one of the guys came over and asked me if I worked for Isuzu, and I said, yeah. And about 3 hours later, we concluded our conversation, but he was kind of telling me about some pain points that he had from a running a brewery standpoint of transportation and things like that. So they had a delivery truck that they ran during the week, and then they purchased another van and a trailer to do events where they would host and show different, go to festivals and things like that, where they needed to pour beer. But he had some issues with the van. The trailer, when they would make some turns, would kind of jackknife, and they popped a couple tires, and they had insurance on the van, the trailer, and their delivery truck. So basically, he kind of talked about these woes, and then, in their delivery truck, they had drilled some holes through the reefer unit or the reefer body. But ultimately, they had to take those out every time, and it's not the easiest to take in and out on a regular basis. So I said, well, I mean, ultimately, I'm in the truck business, but know a lot of body companies and things. So I kind of asked around, and we came up with a concept that basically develops a tap system that runs every day, or can be run every day, but also the primary case for a delivery truck. So you're taking a delivery truck that runs during the day, as we say, does its business during the day, but parties at night or on the weekends, with being able to be converted and changed to a tap truck. And so it's worked out really well. We've had 31 different trucks that have been produced. And we kind of initially thought that they would all be with breweries. But we've had a couple party rental companies that have purchased it just because they've taken it to, they do it for graduations or weddings or birthday parties or any type of celebration. And then we've had a casino also purchase the truck because they can load all the truck with all their beer and then be able to serve throughout the weekend without having to replenish, with a hand truck and everything, bringing kegs through and stuff. So it's really worked out really well. You never know when you're in a what seemed to be like a small conversation turned out to be a new project for us and kind of changed the industry a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to say, I think all great ideas are created at a brewery. That seems to be the right place to have those kind of ideas and do that. And this really speaks to a really cool multi-function truck and body configuration. Do you have any other examples or maybe other applications that you've worked with customers with your network and the Isuzu truck building capabilities of how you've approached these multi-function application trucks before?
Yeah, probably the landscape industry is probably another one where they purchase a van body and vent it, put equipment in, but also take the equipment out and be able to do some parcel delivery. So we've had a number of customers that have done that, which has been beneficial for them because really they kind of get two trucks out of one. But the key there is being able to ventilate it, bring the mowers and equipment off, but then also use that same ramp for bringing parcels or boxes in and out of the vehicle. Same thing with some of the motorcycle companies. We've had where they've kind of turned the truck into a mobile service truck, where it's gone out where they can bring the motorcycles in, do the service, and then wheel the motorcycle back out and do it on location. So those are some of the other areas where we've had some multi-uses where probably didn't expect it going into, but ended up with multi-purpose use from the same truck. And then probably last but not least is the hook lift area. We've had a lot of customers that have purchased a hook lift, and so it's either got a storage unit on the back or a dump body or a flatbed, whatever it may be. But the hook lift gives them the ability to change out those trucks, or at least the upfit on the back, to what they need to do from a job perspective.
Presented from the Isuzu Broadcast Studio at Babcox Media.
So you said the idea for this truck came out, you said about 6.5 years ago, having a drink and figuring it out. And then 2019 was when the Ultimate Craft Beer truck was introduced. But I mean, in that time, Isuzu hasn't been stagnant. So what are some of the new improvements and standout features to this generation of the truck?
Yeah, so 2024 is a pretty exciting year for us. From the standpoint is we have launched our all-new EV truck last year at the NTA Work Truck Show. We showcased it this year at the NTA Work Truck Show, and production of that truck starts this summer. And it will be produced in our facility in Charlotte, Michigan, along with our F-Series and our N-Series gas truck. So really exciting there. A lot of new technology, a lot of safety requirements that have been built into the truck. Really that architecture, electrical architecture, which nobody really sees, but is probably the biggest value of cybersecurity and all the different technologies that are built into the truck to be able to make it a safer vehicle. And then a lot of that is still in our 2025 N-Series diesel truck, where it also has the ability to have that same options and things that our EV does. But again, creating more of a safety aspect, a new upfit on the front of the truck. The whole interior is different. So really kind of listen to our drivers or our customers over the years of how things need to be ergonomically accessible for the driver. And probably the biggest one was the steering wheel controls, where they can control a good amount of the vehicle right from the steering wheel. So a lot of new enhancements and new changes that have been put into those new vehicles. And then we also have an 8-speed transmission in our gas truck, class 3 and 4 truck, that went into to place this year as well. So a lot of changes for 2024, and the diesel trucks have just started to come into the U.S. And will be out in body companies and dealers very shortly.
Very cool. You mentioned the EVs. We got to ask the EV question here. Where do you think we're at with that in these medium duty segments? And what are you hearing from customers in the way of either interest or if it'll work for their applications?
Yeah, so we've had a number of our trucks out being tested and evaluated by customers. There's certainly an interest. I'm here in California where we really don't have a choice. It's here, it's in place. Right. I was just at a show this past week, well, the beer show, where the Craft Brewers Association was, where we had the truck. But there was a lot of customers there that didn't know that you can't really have a diesel truck in California starting this year. So it was kind of eye-awakening for some of them, in having them understand that the differences and what CARB and the EPA have put in place for all of us. But as far as an overall interest, there's a lot of interest into it, and from the standpoint not only here in California but across the country, because there's a lot of larger customers that it meets into their vehicle needs, from not only from a standpoint of it makes more sense, but ultimately just to make their overall companies, a greener environment for running their operations. It'll be exciting to have it. I've driven it. I've spent quite a bit of time in some of the vehicles. It is really nice to drive. It's quiet, obviously, but certainly different. And some people would say, "Oh, well, load's going to make a big difference." Yeah, of course, load will make a difference. But the great thing about the vehicle is really you don't feel that impact as you're driving the truck with that load in there. So obviously exciting times for us, but I think overall for the industry and in having a different solution. And with us from this standpoint, we'll have our EV, we have our gas truck from class 3 through 5, and then we have our N diesel class 4 and 5. And then we also have our class 6 and 7 with our F series. So a wide variety of choices for customers to choose from in the best propulsion unit that they feel they need for their route or for their business.
All right. That's everything I had. Anything else?
No, that sounds good. We'll have to definitely catch a beer next time we're together, maybe at the Work Truck Show, and we'll see what other ideas we can hatch up.
Sounds great. I look forward to it.
All right, Brian Tabel, Assistant Vice President Marketing at Isuzu. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I mean, it was already an interesting concept from the start.
Yeah.
Definitely, something fun to learn about. I didn't know that it got started at a brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a good place to work.
And for the number of times that I've had an idea at the brewery, it's nice to see one actually happen from someone.
And one of those ideas actually be a good idea. I've had bad ideas,
They're all good at the time. But you know what? The other thing, it really just goes to show how these work trucks, they're created and crafted for those applications, right? Yeah, this works great for the brewery industry. I love that he mentioned some of the other applications, because you think about it, maybe restaurants, he mentioned a casino, other people, right? Food trucks are a thing. You could always bring it along with that. Goes into landscaping, right? And how these trucks are built to serve multiple purposes within an application. I think, it can go, you can gloss over it a lot in the work truck world, but they're really purpose-built.
Yeah, and I think it's nice that they're continuing to innovate on it. They're listening to people, because too often you see, oh, this truck came out, figure it out. Right. So it's good they're getting support.
Right.
All right. Well, for Fleet Equipment, he's Jason. I'm Kevin. This is Medium Duty at Large. We'll see you next time.
It's time for a beer. You want to cut out early?
Sure.